Hello and welcome to the craft room. In today's video I'm going to show you a quick and fun technique that you can use with your Stampin' Blendabilities markers to create a great focal piece for your cards. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and recreate this card for you. So to do that, I have a Whisper White card base, and this is just 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, and I scored it at the 5.5 inch mark and folded it in half. And this will be a little hard to see. This is a piece of transparency or window sheet. You could also use plastic packaging that you can cut down. And this piece is 2.5 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And I'm going to be working with the Rich Razzleberry assortment of Stampin' Blendabilities markers. And I'm actually going to start with the lightest color and the brush tip. And what I want to do is just start applying color to my window sheet. And you don't have to apply it in any specific way. I'm just throwing the color down here and scribbling it on. And then I'm going to bring in the next darkest color, and I'm actually going to go over parts that I already have colored. And all you're trying to do here is fill up the surface of your plastic, your window sheet or transparency. And I'm working on a scrap piece of paper for times like that where I go over. That way I'm not dyeing my table. And then I'm going to use the darkest color and add some additional color here. And again, you're just trying to make sure that you've colored the entire piece. So now that I have the entire piece covered, I'm going to come in with some rubbing alcohol. This happens to be 70%. I think it doesn't matter what percentage you use. And I'm also bringing in just a coffee stirrer, which is like a small straw. The other thing you could bring in is a little spritzer filled with some alcohol. That will work for this technique too, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my little stir stick. And all I'm going to do is pick up some alcohol and I'm going to splatter it on the surface. And hopefully you can immediately see what's going on here, that you've got this mixing of colors. The alcohol is reacting with the Blendabilities markers, and I'm actually getting a little bit of a brownish color, which I actually really like. So you can focus your alcohol over different parts. Also, when this dries, if you wanted to add a little bit more color and then add a little bit more alcohol, you can do that too. So I'm going to go ahead and let this piece dry, and I'll be back. So now that this piece is dry, I'm going to bring in my card base. And what you want to do, you've got the ink on one side, and obviously you just have the plain plastic on the other side. And I'm bringing in some glue dots, and I'm actually going to adhere the glue dots to the inked side of my window sheet or transparency. And I'm doing this for a very specific reason, which I will show you in a moment. But again, just making sure that your glue dots are on the ink side, and the glue dots will do a great job of disappearing when you adhere this panel to your card. So I now have my glue dots on there, and now I just have to figure out orientation. Do I want it this way or do I want it this way? And I think I'm going to go that way, and I'm just going to adhere that down onto my card. And this is a little bit longer here on this left side, so I'll trim that down off camera in a moment. But now it's time to do our stamping. So now you have the nice smooth side that is facing up on your card, and I'm going to bring in this mini thanks stamp. This is in the Another Thank You stamp set by Stampin' Up. And I'm also going to bring in my Jet Black Stays On ink. That's what you want to use, and you want to make sure your ink pad is nice and juicy so that you get a really nice dark impression. And I'm going to purposefully make a mistake right now. So let's say I stamp this down and that happens. That actually looks kind of cool, but that was intended to be a mistake. And some of you might be going, oh no, you've just ruined your card. Well, I haven't. The beautiful thing about now having stamped on just the plain plastic side, the side that doesn't have the ink, is I can come in with a paper towel, and I'm going to bring in my alcohol again. I'm going to move my card just for a second so I don't drip onto it. And I'm just going to put a little bit of alcohol right onto my paper towel. And then I'm going to bring my card back in, and I'm just going to swipe that right off. And of course, if the ink side that we decorated was facing up, that would have just taken off all of that ink. But because we're stamping on the plain side, we're able to just wipe away any mistakes and then try again. So that's my reason for making sure you've got the ink side facing down when you go ahead and attach your panel to your card. So now let's go ahead and see if we can do this without making a mistake. So I'm just going to ink up that stamp. And again, it's kind of freeing knowing that if you make a mistake, no problem. You can just go ahead and wipe it off and try again. So I've got that down, and that of course came out much better and much cleaner. So there you have it, a really great technique using your window sheets or transparencies with your blendabilities and a little bit of alcohol to create some beautiful panels for your cards and papercraft projects. I hope you've enjoyed this technique, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon here in the craft room.